Fable 5 is back. We are free to use it. We are not caged by the US government telling us what we can use and not. But we can finally give all our data to Anthropic, so it check what we do and control that we are good citizens. Now, okay, Fable 5 is good. It's an incredible model. It's probably the most powerful model out there, but at a cost, $50 per million token. GLM 5.2 is $4.40 for 1 million token. Means we can do 10 times what is possible to do with Fable. In a sense, as a number of token. Now, the difference here is the intelligence per token. And the question here is he 10 times more intelligent? And I'm telling you, it's not. There are some scenarios, really a few scenarios, where you need that kind of intelligence, more intelligence to resolve some specific problems. But for the rest of the cases, there is no need of 10 times the cost to have a little bit more intelligence. Now, this little bit, you can say, okay, it's a serious gap. Not 10 times the price though. Not 10 times a serious gap. So let's say that we prompt Fable 5. We give this massive prompt, amazing, boom, and in one single shot achieve 80-90% of what we wanted. Amazing. Okay, that means we just allow it to work and we get something incredible. Then there is, the last 10-20% that is the hardest one, as always, to fine-tune, perfecting the elements and so on. Nice. You have, you spend a few $1,000 and you get there. Then you have another option to use GLM 5.2 for $40 per million token, and then have a lot of interaction with this model. Instead of working autonomously, instead of giving a massive short prompt that is not going to be able to do it, you architect something for smaller task, and you save an insane amount of money. So in most scenarios, that intelligence at that price doesn't make sense. When it makes sense, if you have a vulnerability, something that is completely difficult to find out, to discover, then a higher intelligence has a chance to see it compared to a lower intelligence. So if you give Fable 5 the task to audit your software and look for vulnerability, then you have a higher chance to find those vulnerability. That is a price worth paying. But for the most of the time, for the rest of the work, honestly, doesn't make much sense. Doesn't make much sense for two reasons: the cost of it and the privacy that you don't get at all. Okay, they just look at your data and check if you're not criminal, what you're doing with this model. They're gonna train on your whatever work you're doing. It's just not worth it. This is my thinking. Okay, now you might have a different kind of idea about this. Maybe you're happy to give all your private data to Anthropic. At least it's there is no judgment. Okay, you do what you do. The cost, though, it's real. It's there. If you compare to GPT 5.5, which has for 1 million token $30 cost, it's cheaper, almost half price, but it's not that big of a gap. So if you're used to pay already premium for those tokens, then you feel like it's not a big step, it's just a little bit more, and I got much more intelligence. So what it become clear now that instead of say yes or no to a model, what we need to start asking ourselves, how can I use it as little as possible for the maximum impact? Because that is the strategy. It's not overusing it. It's not using it blindly. Okay, it's not having a cron job that start and use the model every now and then just to, for checking if there are, problem in your software, if there are, potential things to do. It's something that should be triggered on demand. So now, vulnerability can be one thing that you schedule to check every now and then, but you only check when you change the code. Otherwise, you're checking again something. And if you didn't see the first time, the second time, it's just luck. So it means the prompt, the intro prompt was not good enough because it didn't look in the right direction or with precision enough to actually see the problem. So you run once, and if it doesn't find anything, there is nothing to find for that model. You change the code, and then you can run it again. Maybe you can run all over if you feel like, okay, let's see if there is connection with the change that I made that creates some vulnerability. But that's how you work. It's not like every 10 minutes you do the same check. That's just one token. The strategy here is to use it as little as possible. So what we need in reality, we need this router that allow us to find the right model for the right task. Each one of us should have a kind of way of selecting which model we want for that specific task. Planning is, for example, is one kind of task. Code review is another, but code writing is another. And testing the UI UX interface, actually testing it by clicking on the bottom, is another one. So there are a lot of different tasks, and we can say, okay, which model is better for this? And also the strategy of having a massive code getting written in one single shot versus a smaller chunk, dividing the code in parts and allow smaller model to work as a swarm and attack the code in a different way and get it done. Now, is it better to use the most powerful model all the time? Yes, of course. Okay, it's always better to have more intelligence. There is not really many cases where you need to be, less intelligent. But because there is money involved, time involved, privacy involved, then it is about finding a strategy. Now, each one of us needs to have their own strategy, but if you don't have a strategy, the strategy is simple, it's as Anthropic attacking your bank account. So find a way to give value to those tokens if you need to use it. I personally am not gonna use it because if you have been following this channel, I'm not in line with Anthropic. And I'm gonna say the reason because so we can get some clarity. First of all, Anthropic is been campaigning against the open source model. It's been building infrastructure where there are people with the right connection, the right finance that can access to their most powerful AI. Then there are the people that can have the money to access their other frontier models. And then there are people that have no money that they shouldn't have any AI because open source, nothing. They shouldn't have it. That is the idea. That is what they're building. Okay, these 3 tiers: citizens. If you have the money, you have access. If you have connection, you have a privileged access. If you don't have the money, or you don't want your data to be trained, if you want to preserve your privacy, then nothing for you. Nothing. That is what they're building. So for this reason, I can't stay and support that kind of company. Plus, through this event, we saw clearly they were lying. It's so dangerous. It's so this is so bad. This is so powerful that is hacking ourselves. So if you read the, I'm saying this thing because I remember those tweets that they were coming out from the team. Okay, they tried to cage it, but then escaped the cage. So it was doing incredible work. But then, so it was super dangerous, but then they managed to control it. Controlling the narrative through fear is, it's just, I don't even have the words. I mean, I have the words, but I don't want to use it because I'm not polite. Okay, but controlling the narrative through fears and trying to build these 3 tiers citizen. It's just not good enough. So Sorry, Anthropic. And saying this, I want to be clear, okay? It's I'm against the company. I'm also against OpenAI and against a lot of other companies, okay? But the point here is, in this moment in history, there's not about being a purist. It is about understanding who you are and what you want to go, and then leverage whatever you have available with the transparency and clarity of what you're doing to achieve your goal. That hopefully is a goal that is sustain a community. Why I'm saying this? Because almost any action we do it somehow create a problem. It's connected with an event that or a company or whatever it is that we don't like. So it is impossible to be like I want to be like extremely. I don't know. I don't have the word, but extremely good in everything. It's impossible. As soon as you touch something, as soon as you interact with life, something goes wrong. Something is not nice. Something is a messy. But you have your own compass. Follow it and try to do the best that you can. So we shouldn't judge ourselves if we move around, we make mistakes. We should just be sure that we are getting better and better constantly. So today I'm saying against Anthropic. Maybe one day I will have a reason why to use it. And it's not, my reason is never going to be I'm lazy, okay, or I don't care. It's going to be because I need something that will unlock something that have higher value than what I'm giving. Okay, so think in those terms. If it makes sense for you, stick with Anthropic and use Fable 5. Make this company rich and support them creating these three human tiers. But if you find a better path, considering, exploring, and then make your own mind. Okay, don't be lazy. Just just follow this company because unfortunately it's not good. But together with others, okay, it's not the only one. It's just the one that it loves to control us through fears and this marketing idea with the most powerful one. You can't believe it. Actually, you can't even use it because it's too powerful. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe, leave a comment below, let me know what you're doing, let me know what your decision you're making. And there is a community called Resonant DAO. Okay, we are the argumentatists. We are building our own system with the idea of total sovereignty. So privacy, maximum control, and we own what we build. And we build it together. If you want to be part of this movement, join the Discord, the link in the description, and get in touch. Ciao.